Hey everybody, Mr. Regan here. And up to now, you've been looking at how a simulator has different evidence that you can observe as to how things get energy. And now we're going to be looking at how to complete the sorting tool that's going to help us organize our observations and kind of use our observations as evidence to support our claim with some reasoning. Now, we're going to be looking at those three specific claims we started with, and those are number one, objects can make their own energy. Number two, objects get energy from other objects that have energy. And then number three, only living things have energy. Now, if you remember, we talked earlier in lessons that we can disprove this claim by using evidence to oppose it. And we're going to be using that as an example of how to fill out our sorting tool below. So you should have had your simulator kind of pulled up with your different examples and your observations as to how energy is transferring and being converted. And now we're going to fill out this section. So you guys had a specific claim you focused on. That's what you'll be using for your tool. But I'm going to use this third claim as an example for how to fill it out. So I'd start by coming down here and I would click the claim that I would be investigating. For you guys, it'd be one or two, but I'm going to use three. And I'm going to go in here and I'm going to complete the reasoning tool. Now, if you remember, the left side has evidence. These pieces of evidence that you're going to be putting in these two boxes should be your observations, okay? Things you saw in your system, things you talked about in your story that you're going to use now as evidence to either support or oppose your claim. Your final statements here, your therefore statements, are your claims as to whether or not your evidence supports or opposes the claim. And then in here is going to be an explanation as to how the evidence supports the claim. Okay, this is the why does it matter. Now, a few things to keep in mind. Number one, the evidence should be simple and it should be what you observed from your system. A lot of people will overcomplicate this and try to explain things. No. Your observations are just simply what do you see happening in the system. Okay, simple is better. The claim, make sure you keep the claim straight to the point. We shouldn't include a ton of explanation in here either. This is where we have our explanation, the why this matters. This is where we connect the evidence to our claim. So let's use an example as to how I would use evidence to oppose this claim, okay? So one piece of evidence that I observed in my simulator, remember the one that I showed you earlier, is that potential energy from the fuel was converted within the system to create kinetic energy and move the motor. Now notice, this is just something I observed. This really means nothing until I start filling out these next parts. So I know that only living things have energy is not supported by this evidence. This evidence here opposes or goes against that claim. So notice I have my evidence, I have my claim, my therefore, but there's no connection there. There's no explanation as to how that evidence opposes that claim. So let's go ahead and take a look at how I would do that. So stored potential energy was converted into kinetic energy as the motor moved, but none of these devices moving or storing energy are living. Notice I connect what I saw with this idea that only living things has energy is unsupported. I'm connecting things here with my reason. Simple observations, simple claim, detailed explanation. Okay, let's do that one more time. So again, here's my evidence. The engine was used to move the generator and converted the kinetic energy to electrical energy within the battery. Again, just something I observed, no explanation, no crazy detail, just the things I saw. So I know that only living things have energy is not supported by this evidence. This evidence does not support this claim. But again, I need a reasoning to explain how. So let's explain how and why it matters. So energy was changing as the generator created electrical energy from its movement. This change of energy was done by different devices that are not living either. So again, if you notice, bada bing, bada boom, I have my reasoning done. So at this point, it's your job to use your system to either support or oppose the claim that you picked. Okay. Before you get into this, start with the survey question on the amplify activity. Okay. So Do you feel confident that you know how to use this tool and you're ready to get started? Are you going to give it a try and call me in if you need help? Or do you have questions before you get started? Put an X where it applies, and then when you're ready, call me in if you need. Otherwise, go ahead and hop to the next task. All right, good luck.